The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, dozens gathered in Burnaby to protest Demovictions.
The storied St. Paul's Hospital hits the market.
And North Shore trails aren't as safe as you would think. Good afternoon and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Catherine Garrett.
And I'm Darian Matasafung. Protesters gathered in Burnaby this week in the fight against Demovictions. Our reporter Matt Lawson has the story.
Tax the rich to house the poor!
Protesters with the Stop Demovictions Burnaby campaign rallied at Metrotown over the weekend to fight Demovictions as part of an international day of action.
Are still suffering the effects of mass displacement.
The situation in Metrotown is very precarious, very dire, as lower end of market rentals are being destroyed and replaced by high-rise luxury condos, and people by the hundreds are being displaced from their homes and from their communities, and this is a tragedy that often is kind of just accepted as business as usual.
We had people come up.
Dewart says Metrotown is the epicenter of local Demovictions. He says the densification of the area is tailored for the wealthy and a lot of regular people are being swept under the rug.
Well, the sign said you got to have a membership card to get inside.
James Beckenwitt is one of those people, and he says there's nobody to turn to.
I'm telling you, the residential tenancy office, I don't know if they do any justice for anyone, but in my case, they have always robbed me of justice. I paid the rent, and they threw me out because I gave notice. That's one of my stories of what I have been traumatized.
The city of Burnaby has set up a Demovictions task force to help, but it's unclear how long it will take to fix the problem. Protests like these are considered small victories in a larger battle, and until the issue is resolved, Beckenwitt urges caution.
Check your references of your landlord before you move in. Find out from the neighbors, can you trust this landlord? Because when you move into a building, you are under their power.
Refugee families.
Until the problem is completely fixed, protests like these aren't going anywhere. Matt Lawson in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
The Integrated Homicide Investigation Team has confirmed a Burnaby mother has died after being shot last week in North Vancouver. Police say 32-year-old Anita Nguyen was targeted.
The historic St. Paul's Hospital has called Burrard Street home for over 125 years. Now the site is on the market. Michael Panis takes us downtown to tell us more.
I almost have tears in my eyes right now because it's you see when you walk down the hallways all the nurses from 1940 and all the history, and it's so sad for the sale of it after so long. It's the most beautiful hospital here in all of Vancouver.
The iconic St. Paul's Hospital has hit the market.
We've been able to sell some of the more landmark real estate in all of Greater Vancouver over our career. We've been very fortunate, but nothing compares to this.
In the heart of downtown Vancouver, the historic St. Paul's Hospital is a total 6.6 acres, close to transit and amenities, and has a total assessed value of over $784 million. And the added kicker, part of the proceeds of the sale will help fund St. Paul's new home in the False Creek Flats.
The more value we can get from the development community on that site, the less money that the BC government would have to contribute to the balance of the cost of the hospital, and less money to the British Columbia taxpayers.
Height restrictions, density, and heritage requirements are some of the things the City of Vancouver has restricted to the potential new owner of the Broad Street site.
If they made some housing and some stores, There's a lot they could do with that building. It's a very good structure.
I'd like to see some iconic buildings go on that structure, legacy on that site, legacy real estate, that we create a real environment, a public market area, like a Granville Market for the West End kind of thing, a village appeal and open areas at the grade, soaring towers, maybe with observation towers, something where, you know, your children will visit and say, hey, we went and saw St. Paul's Square, what an amazing piece of real estate. I think the site has that kind of gravitas, that kind of our equivalency of Rockefeller Center, if you like, a place where people will go and see and legacy real estate. That's what that site deserves.
Michael Panis in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We're now joined live by our reporter Michael Panis. Michael, when will the new location open?
Yeah, well, Catherine, it all started in 2015 when the decision was made to erect a new facility in place of the old St. Paul's Hospital on Burrard Street. 4 years removed from that, we now have the site officially up for sale, but it'll take another 7 years, for the hospital to move to its new location in the False Creek Flats. It's slated to open in 2026.
And what was the biggest concern for the residents around the old St. Paul's site?
Yeah, I mean, it was really tense. There was a lot of emotion going around in the neighborhood of the old St. Paul's Hospital. Residents of the West End were worried that the new location at the False Creek Flats would be a little too far away for the West End residents. But all in all, you know, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of old stories were shared about the St. Paul's Hospital on Burrard Street. Back to you.
Thanks, Michael. Jury selection began Monday for a man accused of killing his 2 daughters. Andrew Barry has been charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder for allegedly killing 6-year-old Chloe and 4-year-old Aubrey in Oak Bay on Christmas of 2017.
BC's job market is currently the strongest in the country. One job fair this week found it had more employers than applicants. My co-anchor Catherine Garrett went to find out more.
Hundreds of job seekers lined up outside the Croatian Cultural Center for the 8th annual Mosaic Job Fair. It's considered one of Vancouver's largest and includes over 75 employers. It offers those on the job hunt a chance to network and meet face-to-face with potential supervisors.
I think it's very good. It's extraordinary good, actually, because it's a beautiful community collection that everyone come and find the job on he or she's field.
Something the organizers feel is important in Vancouver's strong employment market.
The labor market being as good as it is makes it difficult for employers to recruit and find new employees. And so the job fair actually allows the connection to happen sort of in real time and frontline. The employers get exposed to job seekers who aren't necessarily attached to recruiters or to employment services or programs.
Still, while some found success, others didn't feel the event was right for them.
I think it's good for somebody who wants to work to one company, you know, like accountant, like architect, like, I don't know, there was other jobs, but for me, no, I didn't find anything.
The fair attracted 2,700 job hunters, and Mosaic organizers forecast that the numbers will only go up. Catherine Garrett in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. Former Cabinet Minister Jane Philpott says Justin Trudeau broke the law by kicking her and Jody Wilson-Raybould out of caucus. Philpott says Trudeau violated the Parliament of Canada Act by expelling them without a party vote. Trudeau says the will of the caucus remains clear.
Coming up after the break, Vancouver battles the Beatles.
And we chat with the new BCIT Student Association president.
Winter is coming, and that means the end is here. Welcome to the Game of Thrones edition of the Community Calendar.
Want to enjoy some music before you turn into a White Walker? Well, Burnaby boy Michael Bublé is playing this Friday, April 12th at Rogers Arena. Doors open at 8 p.m.
Want to stop and smell the flowers, but can't make it down to King's Landing? Well, head on over to Van Dusen Gardens this weekend for the Sakura Days Japan Fair. Enjoy food, entertainment, and of course, smell those cherry blossoms.
Unfortunately, I don't have a dragon to get away from the White Walkers, but thank God the Sun Run is this Sunday, April 14th, so I can plan my escape. It starts at 9 a.m. between Georgia and Braun. Hey.
Ashley, you're just in time to help me sign off for the last time here from the class of 2019. This is the end of the Game of Mags. I'm Graham Cox.
And I'm Ashley Mollier. Thank you so much for watching.
Welcome back. BC Transplant says it saw a spike in the number of registered organ donors after the first Green Shirt Day. Nearly 2,200 people signed up over the weekend. Green Shirt Day is in honor of Humboldt Broncos player Logan Boulay, who died in the crash a year ago.
Despite the dry start to our spring, mountain trails on the North Shore can still be quite dangerous. My co-anchor, Darian Matassa-Fung, has the story.
While many are still hitting the slopes, the hikers are starting to come out. Spring arrived in full force this year as March broke heat records around BC. But here in Vancouver, you can go from a trail like this to this in a short drive.
As you can see right now behind us, they're advertising bad conditions on the trail further up. And as you can see, some of the people who have just walked right past us are going up a trail that's already closed. It's closed because it's icy at the top and dangerous.
North Shore Rescue says some hikers do not fully understand the danger that they put themselves in while hiking in such inclement weather.
Those people don't seem to think that anything's going to happen to them, and which is the usual comment when we get to anybody, oh, I didn't think it would happen to me.
Didn't bring very much food, but I'm pretty sure I'd survive a night without too much food. I didn't bring all of my safety gear because I've been up here so many times.
We meant to bring this food. We forgot the food in the car, but that was kind of a big one.
Wearing the proper footwear in first place is good, and then taking the essentials.
The rescue team says hikers need 10 essential items. These include a light, food and water, extra clothing, a shelter, a navigation tool, a cell phone, a first aid kit, a knife, a signaling device, and a fire starter. In any case, the team says anyone heading up Dog Mountain on Mount Seymour must have all the requisite gear. Darian Matassa-Fung in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. The Beatles are coming to Vancouver, but these ones aren't from Liverpool. Ben Ronald explains how the city is combating an invasive species.
These kids aren't going to let a little insecticide ruin their recess. The city of Vancouver began its battle against the Japanese beetle at David Lamb Park this week. Though the treatment is meant to eliminate the invasive species, experts say it doesn't pose a danger to anything else.
We're using a very low-risk larvicide to target the young larvae. So that's just in some localized places within this regulated area.
The city will spray every park in the affected area, all in an attempt to get rid of this pesky critter. Despite the safety of the insecticide, some park goers aren't getting that message.
I don't like it. They're spraying herbicide, insecticide. I'm hoping it's organic. If not, not good. Little kids play on the grass. Not good.
Despite resistance by some, the larvicide, called acelepryn, won't impact those enjoying the park. And that's good news, because city crews plan on spraying 24 other parks from now until the end of May. Ben Ronald in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We are now joined by reporter Ben Ronald. Ben, those signs look pretty ominous. Did it keep anyone off the grass?
No, far from it, Darian. Although there were warning signs everywhere, according to the city and the expert I talked to, the particular brand of larvicide that they're using really isn't harmful to pets, people, or other insects, except for the Japanese beetle.
And where will they be spraying next?
City crews will be moving on to a couple different spots in Stanley Park early next week, and then Creekside and Sutcliffe parks later in the week. And for the entire list of parks, you can visit the City of Vancouver website.
Thanks, Ben. The BCIT Student Association just announced the winners of the 2019 Student Council election. Our co-producer Ashley Moliere sat down with the new president to see what his goals are for the upcoming school year.
I'm here with newly elected president of the Student Association, Justin Cervantes. Thank you for joining us today.
Not a problem. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And our first question for you is, what do you hope to accomplish over the next year?
Yes, so for my goals for 2019-2020 with the Student Association, I'm focusing more on what students have told us they wanted to see. This year we've been reviewing our strategic plan, and that involves feedback not just from students but also people within our organization telling us what we need to work on. So in 4 areas, we're looking at satellite students, making sure that they're getting the services that they need, working with our current service offerings, such as making sure the Entrepreneurship Center that was recently launched is working as it should, and also making sure that the clubs programs are being served properly so that they're helping students to feel more engaged with the community. Part of the strategic plan also involved work with making sure that the people and the association were being taken care of, making sure that the right people were in the association and being maintained and grown there. And also trying to work on engagement. Engaging with BCIT students is always a struggle, but this is, again, one of our focuses for the upcoming strategic plan.
And what would you say out of those issues is like the first one that you want to tackle, or the one that's kind of like the top priority for you guys?
Yes, so for me, the thing that I'm most concerned with is people in the association. The reason being is that every year the executive board is turned over through the process of the election. That being said, my first priority is to make sure that the newly elected executives are being onboarded so that all the passion that we've seen during the election period is turned into an effective and prosperous team, feeling people that are empowered to execute on their dreams and ambitions.
What's the one thing that you want the students to know about the Student Association under your leadership?
Right. I think it's most important to remind students that we at the Student Association, we value student feedback. We at the Student Association need their feedback. And we at the Student Association action their feedback. We need student voices to make sure that we're doing our job correctly. And so our doors are open always to make sure that we're doing our job.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us on BCIT Magazine today.
Thank you for having me.
There could be some good news on the way for Burnaby dog owners. Burnaby Parks and Rec hosted an open house to get input from the community on 2 proposed off-leash dog parks, one at Bell Park and one at Keswick Park.
Dog off-leash areas are quite popular. I mean, a lot of people live in apartments and townhomes now, so they need a space to take their dog and for exercise and play and socializing, and there's definitely a lot of demand for it.
Sawatsky says the public's reception has been mostly positive, and it's likely to be a decision of which park to put in rather than deciding whether to put one in at all. The Parks Commission decision is expected soon.
A single from Avicii called SOS will be released next week, a year after his death. Those who worked with him also say an album will follow in June. If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitnews.com. That was your BCIT Magazine for this week and the final show for our 2019 graduating class. I'm Catherine Garrett.
And I'm Darian Matasafung. Thanks for watching. Now we leave you with a look at our local mountains.